no decision yet on whether Manhattan grand jury will indict former President Trump, but potential legal trouble looms elsewhere as well. Today, one of Trump's attorneys may appear before a different grand jury in Washington over the handling of classified documents. CBS's Jared Hill is tracking the latest developments on this and joins us live from New York this morning. Hey, good morning, Jared.
Hey, good morning, Amanda. There's a lot to keep track of when it comes to some of these legal cases here. We are, as you mentioned, in that holding pattern right now. When it comes to whether a grand jury will indict former President Trump here in New York, they're not scheduled to meet again until next week. But in the meantime, as you mentioned, we could see movement in another case regarding another issue with former President Trump. Take a look. Dwindling dueling demonstrations outside the Manhattan courthouse, with the decision on whether to indict former President Donald Trump now likely delayed until next week. But GOP criticism of District Attorney Alvin Bragg as strong as ever. Trump on Truth Social wrote, quote, "Isn't it terrible that DA Bragg refuses to do the right thing and call it a day?" 3 Republican committee chairmen are requesting testimony from 2 former prosecutors in Bragg's office.
They were the ones who were pushing for this all along.
The DA's team pushed back in a letter, writing the request only came after Donald Trump created a false expectation that he would be arrested, arguing it wasn't a legitimate basis for congressional inquiry. Former federal prosecutor Scott Frederickson.
It's an ongoing investigation. Committees don't have a right to get involved in grand jury investigations, so it's going nowhere.
The back and forth is linked to the DA's investigation into the alleged hush money payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels in 2016 and whether Trump falsified records to hide it. Trump, now a candidate for 2024, denies any wrongdoing. Meanwhile, in Washington, the classified documents probe is picking up steam. Former Trump lawyer Evan Corcoran could appear as soon as today to testify before a grand jury about his communications with the former president regarding the handling of documents marked classified at Mar-a-Lago. An appeals court ruled that he must also share any relevant evidence, including documents and private audio files. Now, there's also the possibility here that we could hear, or at least there could be a chance where former Vice President Mike Pence might testify before a grand jury regarding the January 6th investigation, but he has said that he wants to make sure that the courts weigh in on how much he can say about his conversations with former President Trump regarding that.
Yeah, Jared, that'd be really interesting to hear from the former vice president about that and his take on everything. And one more question for you. So we initially started with just the hush money case as a probable indictment for Trump. Now we see the grand jury looking into other investigations regarding Trump, as you discussed. Some speculate, I've been seeing this on social media, it's because they don't have a case strong enough to indict him. So what have you learned regarding this? Is it normal for the grand jury to be looking into multiple cases?
Yeah, so there are a couple of things happening here, Amanda. So on one hand, there were some questions around why we didn't see this grand jury come back yesterday with some sort of decision on former President Trump, or why they didn't even discuss this case. That is not out of the ordinary because this type of grand jury sits for a while, for a couple of months, and they end up looking through a number of unrelated cases. And it just so happens that, typically speaking, Thursdays are not the day that they look at this Trump hush money case. Now, with some of these other grand juries, this is, again, just part of the legal process because none of these are connected, really. There's a common denominator in the individual that is being investigated. But these are all happening in different courts, in different jurisdictions, in different districts across the country, again, independently of each other. Back to you.
Jared Hill, thank you so much. Always appreciate chatting with you.